Hello, and you're tuned into Reading with Robin. My guest today is Bonnie Kistler. There is nothing like a debut, and I am so excited to share House on Fire with you today. Bonnie is a former Philadelphia trial lawyer. Born and raised in the horse country of Pennsylvania, she attended Bryn Mawr College, where she graduated magna cum laude with honors in English literature. She received her law degree from the University of Pennsylvania Law School, where she was a moot court champion and legal writing instructor. You've combined everything here.
Writing and law, that's right.
You have set the stage. She spent her law career in private practice with major law firms, first in Anchorage, Alaska, where she met and married her husband, and later in Philadelphia. Peer-rated as distinguished for both legal ability and ethical standards, she successfully tried cases in federal and state courts across the country, also taught writing skills to lawyers, and lectured frequently to professional organizations and industry groups. She is quite the slouch, and she lives with her husband now in Florida and the mountains of western North Carolina. They have 2 daughters. Really is such a treat to have you on the show today, Bonnie.
Thank you for having me, Robin. It's a pleasure.
Welcome. I can't help but note the underachievement in this bio.
I'm lazy.
Somebody's got to do the work. Somebody's got to do the heavy lifting. I was so excited. I have really gotten so into thrillers, domestic thrillers. That genre is not something in the past, maybe the past year and a half, and I just can't get enough. And I remember when this arrived. I mean, just of course the cover caught my attention, and the title, which we can talk about a little, but certainly attorneys who turn to writing are one of my favorite author genres. My favorite kinds of authors to interview. So fascinating. But reading your bio, that's something that was always of interest to you.
Yes. I always wanted to be a writer. And when I was in college, thought that was what I would do. Mm-hmm. But I sort of got a bite of reality and thought that I really ought to try to support myself. So I went to law school. Reality. And then, got sucked into the vortex of that is, busy practice. And so wasn't able to write as much as I would have liked until more recently.
So did you write all along, even while you were busy working? Was that just...
I did.
And was that what you were writing then? Any of that, were those seeds for House on Fire, or just working on different things?
Different things. Yeah. But there were some early seeds planted for House on Fire really pretty long ago. There was as you know, one of the themes of the book is the good lie. Yes. And when is a lie a good thing, and does that excuse it? And there was a case in the news, and this really might be going back almost 20 years.
Wow.
That's how long ago this germ was planted in my mind, of two young buddies, young men, who went on a mountain climbing trip together, and one of them was very seriously injured. And while they were waiting for rescue and, evacuation to a hospital, the one who was not injured switched IDs with his injured buddy. And the reason was that he had health insurance and his buddy did not. And so he went to the hospital pretending that wow. they were each other. Mm-hmm. And he was discovered. It was insurance fraud. He was prosecuted, sentenced. it was a crime. And I thought, but he did it for such a nice reason. He was such a good guy.
I mean, people do so many horrible things.
And yet, and just so that gave me the idea of the basic setup of this book, which was the idea of an accident, a car accident, and in order to save the driver who's in some kind of peril or jeopardy, the passenger pretends to be the driver, and it took many permutations over the years until I ended up with what I have now, which is the step siblings, and whether or not the boy was driving or the girl was driving, and was it a lie or was it a good lie?
I love that idea because, nothing's black and white, and
right.
And I guess that there are laws, but I don't think that guy should have been charged if he switched.
I agree with you.
And I think there should be health care for all. That's another story, right?
Yes, it is.
But I love that this seed was planted so long ago, and having so much knowledge of the law, and it sounds like in writing this book, different laws that came into play, different things that you had to learn and research, how that figures into a storyline and what the reader goes through, the journey that the reader goes through. I find all of that so fascinating because the story starts off, and and none of this, there are no spoilers, but
no spoilers,
a lot of this is out there, things that happen at the beginning, but it's set up so beautifully with this wonderful family, lovely couple is away on their 5-year honeymoon, 5-year anniversary, and they come back. I mean, as a parent, your worst nightmare is getting a phone call. So talk a little bit about that. And
when our girls were teenagers, we were very much the kind of parents that wanted to raise strong, independent women. We wanted to give them a long leash, and so as soon as the oldest one was, was of driving age, we would, here's the car, go have a good time. And then, of course, would be, late night, and we're standing by the window, and we're pacing, and we're worrying and wondering.
Of course.
Right. And, fortunately, our girls were responsible, and nothing bad ever happened. But I think that's just a universal reaction among parents, is just this fretting, and what's going to happen, and imagining worst-case scenarios. And so I put my characters in that position of, they're teenagers, left home alone, and it's established that this is not something they regularly did. It was a very special occasion to go off for their 5-year anniversary and leave his 18-year-old and her 14-year-old home alone that night. And then, the worst thing happens. There's an accident, there's an arrest, and it all flows from there.
And really when you say you put your characters through, you really put your characters through, because that idea of a marriage, blended family, responsibility, history, where allegiances lie. I mean, there's so much, and I'm on the phone with Bonnie Kistler. We're talking about her brand new debut novel. There's nothing. If you listen to my show, there's nothing like a debut. It's one of my favorite things to share with my listeners, and it's called House on Fire. Talk about the title, because I love the proverb.
Yes, yeah. It comes from an old Turkish proverb that's very much like the more familiar one that we have about the boy who cried wolf, which is, nobody believes the boy when there actually is a wolf because he faked it too many times. The Turkish proverb goes, a liar's house is on fire, but no one believes him. Because he's a liar, he yells, fire, fire, and no one comes to help. That, again, just sort of sets up the idea of the lie that may or may not be at the heart of this book. It was not the original title, interestingly.
Oh, really?
When I first wrote it and sold it to Atria Books, the name of it then was Hollow House. And from the story, there's a house that Peter is building on Hollow Road, but Lee comes to think of her own house as being a hollow house because of the split and everything that's happened, the loss and everything. My editor thought that sounded like a Stephen King title, Hollow House, that it would confuse the readers into thinking that it was horror instead of a suspense novel. And so we cast about for another title, and since I'd already had this Turkish proverb on my desk, I said, let's call it House on Fire. Yes.
I love it, and it's funny because when I read House on Fire and knowing what it was I was thinking like liar, liar, pants on fire.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, in my mind, it was subtitled Pants on Fire. It's just such a terrific book, and again, I'm so into. This is like my new favorite genre, so I'm even more excited because I know, like I've never read a Stephen King novel. I mean, there's a bunch of things I've never read, and that's one I always get flack for it, and I'm like, well, I haven't. But it would be a fabulous book club pick and so much to discuss. And what do you expect for readers? I mean, without giving anything away, do you think readers will come down more on the side of which character? It's told in 3 points of view.
It's told, yes, from the viewpoint of the mother, the father, and then partially from the 18-year-old son. And that's interesting because I've gotten already some mixed reviews as far as the son is concerned.
Oh, okay.
Some people who are kind of sympathetic to his plight. Other people who think that the kid is a bad egg. He is a bad boy, and he kind of revels in his bad boy reputation, at least until terrible things happen.
Well, right. There's bad boy, wink, wink, and then there's, horror.
That's exactly right. Different flavor of bad boy.
Exactly.
And some people who wanted to kind of, reach into the book and shake him by the shoulders. And then I've also had some interesting reactions to the character of Lee. She's hit hard by the events of the book and does take a long time to recover. She's not good at communicating with her husband. I will say he's not good at communicating with her either,
right.
About the factors that lead to their problems. But she is a flawed character, but I think all characters should be flawed because that makes them so much more interesting. I don't believe in having the idealized female protagonist. I think if they're a little bit... a little flawed, you can relate to them a little bit better. Is this what you would do? Well, you might want to think that, I'd rise above. I might do better than that. But I don't think I would have done any better than what Lee does under these circumstances.
I can't imagine being faced with that. And as an attorney, and so having that background, you're first and foremost a mother. So,
yes.
Before a wife, mother. That's what I would say. So
I would too.
Right. So I can imagine it would be and I will be absolutely recommending Bonnie Kistler, your book, House on Fire. Book club should absolutely pick it, and I would be really interested to hear the discussion about that. Cause
I would too. I'd like to be a fly on the wall and hear how people come down.
Not only can you be a fly on the wall, but certainly if you Skype in with book clubs or FaceTime with them, you could be even more than a fly on the wall.
Even more, yes, a visible fly. Or at least an audible fly.
I love getting that feedback, and I have such a great time when I either attend book clubs or I do Skype in sometimes, and I like to hear what people are saying, and they get very passionate about these things, and and a lot of these stories will hit home in different ways, so they're triggers for people, and people know situations that are similar, and so some people have more at stake in that answer or they hang on to it and don't want to really talk about it. I think it's very interesting what comes up at book club discussions and how people connect with the story, right? So I think that's really an interesting dynamic with the 3 points of view. And what are some of the other things that you had to research that
Lee is a divorce lawyer, which was never a field of mine.
Okay. You're a trial lawyer, right?
Yes, I did litigation and corporate litigation, so it was business-related litigation. I didn't represent people so much as I did companies, but I did have a couple early in my career. I had a little passing acquaintance with some divorce cases, but then when I decided to set this in Virginia, I had to learn about Virginia divorce law. One reason I set it in Virginia is that I got very interested in this issue of diplomatic immunity, and one of Lee's cases is she's representing the wife of an ambassador from a Middle East country, and he does not wish to allow his wife to divorce him, and there are lots of thorny legal issues involved there, and one of them is that he's, secluded, inside his embassy compound, and she can't even serve him with divorce papers because of diplomatic immunity, let alone try to get any kind of judgment on behalf of the wife. So that's a side plot. And the embassy would be in Washington D.C. And I have the family living in suburban Washington. And
not able to serve papers. Certainly coming down not on the side of the woman is nothing new.
There's actually an action sequence when Lee rescues her client from inside the walls of the embassy. She's, at that point, very much a terrorized wife, not just oppressed, but in danger. And Lee goes through a sort of an elaborate ruse to get access into the embassy and then to smuggle her out. That's something that I don't know if would actually happen, but I thought that it seemed like was plausible.
Absolutely. Hey, if you write it, it's plausible.
I've made it come true.
And what was some of the surprising things? The book is just out that you didn't expect about writing, or what were you looking forward to?
It's always so exciting.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and what is interesting to me and exciting, although sometimes a little scary, is the extent to which social media kind of takes off on a book. And and then suddenly, I'm on Instagram and I have all these followers, and I'm like, where did they come from? I don't even take photos that often. But, I have a book cover and it's getting circulated around, and people are excited. Yeah, and so that... And then it starts to become a beast that must be fed, and I have to think of new things to do on Twitter or new things to do on my Facebook page.
Is that is that something that you're doing? Are you in charge of that?
I'm doing a little bit of that, every day as it approaches. As there's news, as there's a new review that's, or something, a book signing that's scheduled, I will try to update my social media platforms. So that's. But what's interesting and fun about that is that it's a way to engage with readers that, otherwise when you go to bookstores you meet a handful.
Sure.
If you're lucky, you meet 50 or 100 actual readers. Yet through the social media wonder, you're meeting all kinds of readers and from all around the world, really. So that's really fun.
Isn't that cool? And
especially since writing a book is such a solitary pursuit.
Yeah. Well, that's over
and I
now.
don't work the way some writers do, which is having a circle of friends who are constantly reading and providing feedback. I write in a vacuum.
Okay.
And and nobody sees it until my agent. And hopefully, she likes it, and it goes out from there. But
so not a writers group. You're not in a writers group.
No, I don't have a writers group, and I don't have any writer best friends. My friends are lawyers.
Yeah, you're probably better off, Bonnie, honestly.
I don't know. You don't owe those lawyers.
This is true.
But anyway, it's been a fun, exciting thing to have readers contact me and to be giving that kind of real world feedback.
So it becomes something that is very much a part of book promotion, and as you tour, and readers can go to your site at bonniekistler.com to find out where you'll be, and that's a lot of fun. And also, as you mentioned, Instagram and Twitter and every place like that. And what are you working on?
I am writing another it's a suspense novel again. It's and again, there are female lawyer characters
awesome.
Who are easy for me to identify with. But this one is I can't say too much about it, but it's sort of a modern update of the Locked Room mystery.
Ooh.
It's something happens inside a room where there's only two people present, and what happened, and the whole book devolves from there.
That's very exciting. Well, I will be very tuned into when that comes out, and it's always funny to me because it's like you just wrote this one, and then readers are always so hungry for more, and I know. Very excited to share this with the Reading with Robin audience. It's House on Fire, Bonnie Kistler, and what are you reading now before I let you go?
I'm right now reading one of Tana French's novels, the Dublin Murder Squad books.
Fun, yeah.
She writes fabulous crime fiction. And
she does, yeah.
This particular one is called The Trespasser, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Yeah, it's nothing like a great book. I mean, that's how I felt as I was coming home to House on Fire. And when you know what you have waiting for you, and I've said it often on the show because it's true, and it's one of my favorite things. And this is nothing like an awesome book. And today's actually National World Book Day or something.
Yes.
I can't keep track of all these days.
I know.
Especially as
but that's a fun one. I love to see the kids dress up in the costumes of their favorite literary characters.
It's so cool. I know, and soon will be Reading Week. I love going into the schools to do, I'm asked to do lots of guest reading, which is one of my favorites. But all the schools celebrate that at a different time. So, you sort of keep up. But anything that is promoting reading and writing is so important. There's just so many ways to celebrate. So this is how we do our part. And I'm very excited for you, and enjoy the tour and enjoy, all of the feedback. And if you want to be a fly on a wall somewhere, just keep me posted, and I will let you know. But we're going to post this with a giveaway as well, so it's very exciting.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Robin.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's House on Fire. Wait, I'm looking at your Instagram. Did somebody do is this needlework?
My daughter did that.
Oh, my God, that's gorgeous.
She is a fabulous artist, and she does a lot of her work in embroidery, and so she embroidered.
God, Bonnie, that's amazing. I'm chatting with you, and I'm like, okay, we're winding down, but I'm on your Instagram because, who can focus? But that is, go to Bonnie's Instagram. It's how do I pronounce that? Bonmont.
Yeah, I don't know the French pronunciation either.
Bonmont 101, but it's Bonnie Kistler. You'll see House on Fire, and your daughter did that?
She did. She's amazing.
Hand embroidered. I just like that. That is absolutely stunning. Yes. What a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Does she have, and what's her Instagram?
Oh, she is on Instagram, but I don't know her handle. Her name is Jordan Kistler.
What kind of a mother are you?
I know, how terrible.
Kid get tried for something.
Oh, how terrible.
I'm teasing you.
I think it may just be Jordan Kistler.
Okay, I'll look for her. Thank you
so much,
She's a very talented
Bonnie. Artist.
Oh, my, she really is. This is amazing. She should do this for every. How long did this take her?
Oh, I think it was a couple months.
Was it a surprise?
Yes, yeah. Yes, it arrived at Christmas time.
That is, oh my God, is that gorgeous? I'm looking at it, I'm like, that looks like the cover, but there looks to be texture on those pictures. Oh my God, that is awesome. Well, Bonnie, thank you so much for this. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Robin. It was a pleasure.